And we're live.
Good evening, everyone. Bonsoir tout le monde. Welcome to this special meeting of council on September 14th at 7 p.m. This is a special meeting of council to hear the request of the budget 2021 process from members of the public. So roll call. I'll ask all members of council to please announce themselves.
Michael Ternowski, présent.
André Brisson, présent.
Jamie Loring here.
Cindy Saucé, présent.
Myself as well. I'll ask Madame Greffiard to just confirm she's on the line.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I'm here. Joanne.
Perfect. Thank you very much. We'll move on to item 2, adoption of the agenda. Motion to approve the agenda as presented. Moved by Councillor Larin, seconded by Councillor Saucier. You guys are okay with that? Perfect. I see thumbs up. I'll ask you guys just to call for the vote on that one. All those in favor?
Michael Ternowski, oui.
André, oui.
Jamie, yes.
Cindy Saucé, yes.
Perfect. Adoption of the agenda is carried. Item 3, disclosure of pecuniary interest. Seeing, hearing none, we'll move on to the next item. Our next item is item 4, public request for the 2021 budget. We did receive a lot of feedback this year, which is an amazing thing. A lot more requests than we normally get. I just think that shows a sign of the times. But we do have 3 presentations that are scheduled for this evening. The first one is a presentation by the ACE Group, Association Cycliste d'Embrun, Mr. David Ryan. I don't believe I see him on the call as of yet.
No, he's not here yet, and I just sent him an email just to remind him.
Okay, perfect. So we'll give him another minute, and if not, then we do have the presentation for members of council. For members of public who are, this is your first time watching this type of public budget session, pour ceux qui nous regardent pour cette session extraordinaire du budget pour le public, this is really a information gathering session. This is where council essentially hears all the requests, receives all the requests. Our staff are taking notes and taking all these requests into consideration. The administration will be bringing back a first draft budget next month, and members of council have a few working session days for the budget 2021. And essentially the budget is presented in a fashion what the administration feels it needs for the proper operations of the corporation. And then we have a discussion as to the asks of the members of the public, if they were able to include them as routine maintenance, for example, or if they're included in the 2021 budget. And then members of council have discussions whether they want to include it in the budget and how they want to move forward with certain requests. So that's usually how it goes. We do have 3 scheduled public presentations this evening. If we don't, once those presentations are done, members of the public also have the ability in the chat box to ask questions or to make a statement if they would like to communicate with council. The staff are paying attention to the Q&A, so they can always, information is there on how to reach out. Alors, Monsieur Ryan n'est pas arrivé encore. Malheureusement, on est sur une schedule assez tight. Je sais pas si les membres du conseil, in reviewing this slideshow, was there any questions or any comments you'd like to share with staff in regards to this presentation? If I remember well, they're essentially asking for approximately $6,000, and they share what their vision would be for that that area of our municipality. Okay, if there's wait, allez-y, questions, just raise your hands or comments. Councillor Tarnowski?
So if I can just propose that that we go on to the next presentation and then just hold that one back to the end if the proponent comes up.
Yeah, we can definitely do that. The next issue is is that I believe the next one is scheduled for 7:10. I don't think they've called in yet either. So we're going to have a few minutes here where we're waiting for either number 1 or 2 to call in. Conseiller Brisson, t'avais-tu quelque chose à dire?
C'était cette demande-là que je m'en allais faire. Puis l'autre chose, c'est que moi, j'ai pas venu à bout de l'ouvrir la présentation.
Ah, OK. Je pense qu'il faut que tu l'ouvres sur ton ordi. Tu peux pas nécessairement l'ouvrir sur ton iPad. So that's I think we've had discussions in the past at administrative level. That seems to be an issue. When we get an email that forwards a previous email, we don't necessarily are able to open the PDF file that's contained within an email. But if you go on your PC or your Mac, your computer, then you're able to open that and have a look from there. So, all right. Then if that's the case, Mr. Ryan hasn't called in yet. We'll move on to the next item. The next item is for the Dundas Manor or Winchester District Memorial Hospital. Madame Roy, confirm. I don't see anybody else who's called in at this point in time.
No, they haven't joined yet.
Okay, they're only scheduled for 7:10 p.m. To come in for their presentation, so they might be. We might have to hold off for a few minutes here.
Pierre, Monsieur le maire,
Oui, conseiller Bisson.
vu qu'on attend, est-ce qu'il pourrait juste faire, parce que je vois sur l'écran comme c'est là, qu'il y a la chose de demande de fond de ACE, juste faire circuler les diapos, tant qu'à avoir l'écran, juste comme ça?
Oui, définitivement, Madame Roy ou celui qui contrôle le slideshow, si tu veux juste passer à travers les slides, just click on them and give it a few seconds on each one.
All right.
That way, members of the public will be able to see as well what the request is for.
Merci.
Perhaps for future meetings as well, we should work on some kind of background music, maybe something along the lines of Jeopardy or playing in the background when it's silent.
I could sing if you'd like.
You know what, Councillor Lorrain? I'd welcome it.
Only if I can
Oh,
record it.
I don't think so.
Only if I can record it and use it against you at a future time. Councillor
Well, it
Lorrain.
is being recorded, so.
Oh, there you go.
So I do see a message, Maryse, that Charlie Bolin from the Dundas Manor sent a message saying the phone number is not working.
Okay, I'll just respond to him with the number again.
We apologize for those watching or might have technical difficulties. This is the first time we're trying to do an interactive type of meeting on Teams in this fashion. I think everybody's in the learning stage when it comes to this pandemic. So I see another comment that says they can't, they're not able to access through the phone line. I'll just respond to them that they're working on it. I'm not sure if they're watching or not, but if they're just, if they're not, then just let them know. Worst case, I can send them my cell phone number and put them on speaker, unless at least we can get some communication. Everyone's had a chance to be looking at the slides that are passing in front to see if there was any questions or discussion on that matter. Conseiller Brisson?
Là, c'est juste pour savoir, la demande est comme une demande, le besoin de 6 000 $, mais c'est pour faire quoi? C'est-tu pour acheter de l'équipement? Puis c'est quoi l'équipement? J'ai pas pogné le...
Tu vas être capable de regarder plus en détail quand tu as accès à travers un computer, là, mais si je me rappelle bien le ton, I think the term was a snow hog. C'est quelque chose pour aider à faire nettoyer la piste durant l'hiver pour que les fat bikes peuvent l'utiliser l'hiver. C'est un groomer essentiellement.
Un groomer juste étroit pour la largeur des bicycles.
Ouais, c'est ça. Ils ont montré une vidéo dans la présentation. There's a link to a video. Puis c'est, it's almost like the belt from a skidoo that's like pulling you forward, and that it's grooming at the same time.
Okay.
Yeah, it seems that it's not working. Maryse, can you send them my cell phone number?
Yes, we'll do.
And then what I'll do is I'll try and, might not be the best quality, but we'll try and get them on speakerphone and at least be able to communicate that way. This is why we ask for presentations ahead of time, so at least we'd have the majority of the information. Maddie's just sending the number, I'm sending it as well. So I'm not sure who's going to call first. Pierre speaking, bonjour. Charlie, okay, give me a second. I'm going to put you on speaker. Okay, Charlie? Thanks. Can you hear me, Charlie?
I can hear you as long as you can hear me.
I'm not sure if members of council can hear Charlie on the phone. I see heads shaking.
Okay.
So apologies for that, Charlie. You're not sure exactly what happened in our system, but I'm sure staff will be looking at it for the future.
Sure, that's fine. Just to let you know, we dial that number over and over, and it just doesn't ring. It just nothing happens. So
Okay.
In any case, Bill Swirl, the chair of our board of directors, and Kristen Castleman with our foundation would have joined me, but I'm happy to just try and provide a bit of explanation. It won't take more than 3 or 4 minutes.
Okay.
So you hopefully had a chance to look at the slides we set through, and I'm not going to go through them in detail. Just a few things to highlight. I've been with you before on many occasions representing the hospital, and this is the first time I've come to you representing Dundas Manor. Now, Dundas Manor isn't quite as high profile as the hospital, but just to let you know, it does serve the citizens of Russell Township. At any one time, there's 5 to 10% of the clientele at Dundas Manor do come from Russell Township, and over 5 years, that's 40 or so people. Just to tell you a little bit about the manor. First of all, we do great work. We serve about 100 residents at a time in our facility. Everything from getting the top award from Consultation Canada to passing Ministry of Health inspections. And every year we do a resident and family survey. We get about 97% approval rating from that. So every indication is we do really good work for the people we serve. However, that's with one incredible impediment, and is the building we have is more than 40 years old, and it looks every inch of it. Not so much the condition of the building, but the design. We have rooms that there are 4 residents are in, and by today's design standards, it wouldn't even be big enough for 2 people. Our hallways are about 6 feet wide and no bigger than that. It's terribly, terribly cramped. The building was originally built for 60 beds, and it now houses almost 100 beds with no additional space. So it's been recognized by the government that this is poor design for our seniors. If you ever had the occasion to come into Dundas Manor, you'd know in the blink of an eye just how cramped it is and how non-conducive it is to care of our seniors. The good news is that on March 13th of this year, the Minister of Long-Term Care came and announced Dundas Manor would be rebuilt. But the government only provides roughly 2/3 of the funding for that, and we have to fundraise the other third of that. So what we've been doing is we will shortly begin a fundraising campaign where we target individual donors. But we have been going around to all the municipalities, and we're not finished yet, that Dundas Manor serves. We've got a substantial commitment from the combined from the 3 counties of Stormont, Dundas, Glenberry, and we've got commitments from North Dundas and South Dundas. So we're here tonight and through your budget process to ask you to consider supporting Dundas Manor again, which serves the township of Russell. Obviously not to the same level volumes of population as the other communities do, but our request is to consider a contribution of $60,000 to the building fund, Dundas Manor. And that could certainly be structured over more than 1 year, or however would be most amenable to you.
All right, perfect.
So any questions that I can answer?
Yeah, let me see members of council if they have any questions for Mr. Boland. I don't see any questions at this point in time. It was a very detailed slide deck presentation, so thank you very much for that. As I've mentioned, no decisions are made today. Today is pretty much a gathering of information and requests, and it will be further discussed at our budget session later next month. Yeah, we'll have those discussions, and thank you very much to the organization and the Dundas Manor for what you do. I know how challenging it can be. I sit on the board of the Prescott Russell Residence, and we're essentially in the same boat where a new residence is going to be built, and the amount of funds that need to go towards that. But if we want to continue caring for our elderly, we have to step up our game. So I appreciate very much the phone call, and again, I have apologies for the technical difficulties.
Sure. Well, thank you for your consideration, and I hope at some point in the future, when things change, we can see each other face to face.
Sounds good. Thanks, Charlie. Take care.
Okay, thank you. You too.
Bye-bye. So that was Charlie Boland from the Dundas Manor. I'm not sure if Monsieur Ryan or Monsieur Marion are watching at this point in time. If I haven't shared my phone number with you yet, or if you have my cell phone number, please take a moment and call me, and I will put you on speakerphone. Was that clear enough, members of council? Very hard to hear, or it was actually pretty good? It was actually pretty good. I see thumbs up from members of council. I'm not sure. I'm assuming the public hearing that conversation would be the same. I have received an email from Monsieur Marion, so if you could just send Monsieur Marion an email, Maryse.
Yeah, just did.
Perfect. So we'll give that a minute. I know that staff are on the phone trying to get in touch with Microsoft Teams as well for this issue. So I now have Monsieur Marion calling in. Bonjour François. Ça va bien? Oui. Désolé du problème. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put you on speakerphone, and then members of council will be able to hear what you have to say. And we had your presentation sent to us earlier in the day, so we've had an opportunity to look over as well. So I'm putting you on speaker right now. Can you hear me?
Oui.
Perfect. So
Vous pouvez m'entendre?
yeah, can we hear? Yeah, I see thumbs up, François. Members of council can hear you.
OK. Je vais faire ma présentation rapidement en français. S'il y a des questions, je peux les prendre en anglais par la suite.
Parfait.
Premièrement, merci beaucoup pour l'opportunité pour vous présenter les points saillants de nos demandes. Rapidement, on répète la demande annuelle pour une contribution de 500 $ pour le fonctionnement annuel du comité, le montant est le même que les années précédentes. On demande également une continuité dans le renouvellement des tables rondes. Au cours des dernières années, le remplacement avait été commencé. Cette année, je crois que ça devait se poursuivre, mais avec la COVID-19, je ne sais pas qu'est-ce qui s'est passé, mais on demande de toute façon de continuer ce renouvellement-là. On demande également, comme les années passées, des subventions communautaires. Ça, il y a un point d'interrogation toujours avec le COVID, la pandémie. C'est les trois mêmes demandes, le comité de carnaval, comité citoyen, comité du village, de 1 000 $ chacune pour ces activités. Si jamais, disons, que le COVID nous permettrait à un moment donné de faire quoi que ce soit, ben, on irait de l'avant. On aimerait encore une continuité pour l'installation des lumières de Noël. Une demande, même chose que l'année passée. Cette année, je crois qu'il y en a une qui devrait être ajoutée. Donc, au niveau de l'asphaltage, les gens, on est conscient que vous avez préparé un plan sur plusieurs années. Nos rues du village ont disparu, mais les gens demandent quand même qu'on réitère cette demande-là. Quelque chose de plus récent que j'avais envoyé une photo, c'est le piètre état du terrain de stationnement du centre communautaire. C'est seulement des réparations. Notre préoccupation, c'est si l'eau continue à s'infiltrer, à un moment donné, les dommages vont s'accentuer davantage. Donc, je ne sais pas s'il pourrait y avoir comme du patchage de ce côté-là. Bac extérieur de recyclage et poubelles, j'ai noté aujourd'hui que l'installation avait été faite. Donc, merci beaucoup pour cette initiative-là. Parc Séraphin-Marion, c'est surtout des demandes pour l'entretien continu dans les budgets opérationnels. Il y avait une photo que j'ai acheminée plutôt à Céline, qu'elle m'a répondu. Qu'elle regarderait qu'est-ce qui peut être fait, c'est la toiture, puis également l'intérieur qui nécessite peut-être une attention. Au niveau du gaz naturel, on réitère encore que les discussions continuent. Je sais que le maire Pierre a eu ces discussions-là, mais il faut toujours continuer dans cette direction-là. Finalement, la sécurité routière, on avait fait cette demande l'an passé. On nous avait dit que ça, c'est au coin de la 400, le chemin Marvaville, que ça relevait de la responsabilité de la ville d'Ottawa. Par contre, nous, ce qu'on croit, c'est que la route 400 qui arrive à ces quatre coins-là, nous croyons que c'est de la municipalité de Russell qui est responsable. Donc, peut-être une meilleure signalisation qu'il y a un arrêt qui arrive à cette intersection-là, parce qu'il y a eu encore ce qu'on peut dire, des near miss au niveau des accidents qui ont été rapportés. Donc, grosso modo, c'est ce qu'on demande cette année. Il apprécie toujours votre appui, votre collaboration mutuelle. So if you have any questions, I'll be more than pleased to entertain them.
Perfect. Merci beaucoup, François. Much appreciated. It's always nice to have a detailed report what's going on in Marionville. Any questions, comments from members of council? I don't see any at this point in time. Staff, obviously, François, are taking notes of what the requests are, and they'll be discussed at our budget session next month.
Okay.
So thank you very much for your time. Appreciate it. And again, sorry about the difficulties connecting, but in a time of pandemic, there's little curves that come our way sometimes.
That's true. It's not always a fastball, it's a curve.
Yes, exactly. All righty, sir.
Thanks a bunch, and good evening to the rest of the crew.
Perfect. Merci beaucoup, François. Bonne soirée.
Merci, Pierre. Bye-bye.
Bye. Perfect. So thank you very much, everyone. Maryse, have we heard back from Monsieur Ryan at all?
No, we haven't. I'll just go check in my emails to make sure.
Okay, perfect. Well, we did send him our number, and if he does call in, then I'll be able to throw up on there. I know that was it for the, well, we're still going, that was it for the presentations at this point in time, unless Mr. Ryan calls in. But now we do have some requests that are coming in through our chat box. So one by one, I'll read that so that council is aware and that the members of staff are aware as well. So the first one I see is from Mr. Brian Young from 200 Econex Drive. He says, I'm aware this is a county issue and been brought up before. Can the township fund a pedestrian bike controlled crossing on the trail, Embrum and Russell, as the trail crosses over County Road 3? I do not feel this is safe in my wheelchair and scooter at this crossing. Thank you very much, Mr. Young. Yeah, definitely we can have those discussions again. I know that it's been looked at in the past at the county level. It would be my pleasure if council's direction is to continue pushing for that. And if counties aren't willing, is council willing to put a light system there? That's definitely something we can look at and have that discussion at budget time. The second question is from Mr. Brian Young again. The consideration, has the township ever considered hiring a part-time accessibility coordinator? An average pay would be $29 an hour and more staff time is needed to keep up with the AODA regulation. Towns in Ontario with populations in the high teens are advertising such as Cobourg, Collingwood. Thank you. First time I hear that, Mr. Young, but definitely staff will take the note and the request, and that's something that maybe Conseil Brisson can bring up at the accessibility committee as well, that have that conversation, and that we can have perhaps a recommendation from them and more discussion at budget time on the possibility of adding such a position. Councillor Lorrain?
I just had a question on the first item that Mr. Young sent in.
Yep.
Would that request be a township request that would be funded by the township, or is that something that the counties would be required to fund should we request it from the counties? Because it is a county road.
It is a county road. I guess the question is, it has been discussed in the past. I think we can make that request as a council to the counties and then see if the counties are willing to pay for it. Now, if the counties came back and said they're not willing to pay for it, would council at that time be interested in perhaps a partnership contribution? Monsieur Bourgon, correct me if I'm wrong or fill me in, on the one that was installed at the roundabout, was that 100% the counties or was that a shared cost?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So for the one that we did install at roundabout, it was a 50-50 split for the light system.
It was a 50-50 split. Okay, so that's a possibility that we could look at during budget times. Have those costs and have that discussion at budget if we want to make that request to the United Counties. But obviously more than willing to fight for that one. It is a very well-used crossing, and the rate of speed tends to be a little bit higher in that area as well. Councillor Tarnowski.
I just want to confirm that that has also been brought up and discussed at the PRAC as well, so it will be as part of the recommendations.
Okay, thank you very much. All right, the next one, Let me see, just publish these so I don't get all mixed up. The next one we have is Miss Kimberly Warren. I had previously submitted an email request for consideration to enhance Stuyver Park in Russell. There's very little shade in the park, and I would like to see a pavilion built to house some seating areas. Similar structure is in W.E. Burton Conservation Area. It would be great to see an additional play structure for the kids and more trees planted as well. Thank you very much, Ms. Warren. Yeah, definitely that's a request that we will discuss at the budget session next month. Just so you're aware, we do have numerous parks in the township. Madame Guitar, correct me if I'm wrong, we're in the mid-20s, 25 or 27 parks. So is that what we're up to now?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Good evening, members of council. Yes, we're at, we'll be at 27 very soon with the transfer of the next 3 parks. We did get the request from that resident not long ago, so it was added into our budget demands. So
okay.
Some of the requests will be looked at. Obviously, we can't look at it like supply everything, but some of it will be looked at for sure.
Perfect. Thank you very much. So just for members of the public to be aware, when obviously how council decides when during its budget session, all the requests essentially cost money. And just so members of the public are aware, when we talk about in 2020 this year, correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. Godin, our treasurer, but when 1% increase in taxation only represented roughly $125,000, $130,000 in extra revenue, Mr. Godin?
Through Mr. Mayor, excuse me, that's correct. So basically in 2021, we're estimating that 1% increase is going to represent about $130,000.
$130,000. So just so that members of the public are aware, it's always good to be informed. You know, we'd like to give everybody the moon, but obviously we also want to try and control taxation as well. And when 1% only gives you $130,000 extra, it can be difficult, and that's why we have budget sessions to discuss all these requests, and included the operational costs that move up and go higher, electricity, gas, so forth. Conseiller Larin.
Yeah, and just on that note, Mr. Mayor, again, Mr. Godin, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think last year, the 2020 budget, it was what, about $16 for 1% per average household. So just to have the continuation of the information, yep. That's what it represents, about $16 to your bill for every the average household.
Yeah, for the average household. Perfect. Thank you very much. Yeah, that's correct, Conseiller Larin. It's always fun when you speak to people and say, "Oh, I have no problem in paying that extra 2-3% for this item," but when you have everybody else asking the same thing, are you willing to include the 2-3% for that person's item and that person's item and that person's item? It can go up considerably really quick. That's why it can always be a challenge for members of council, and a lengthy 2 days in discussions on what we are trying to provide as a corporation, as a service level. So thank you very much, Madame Warren, for that. Madame Marianne, coin du 400 Murvilleville, visibilité réduite à cause des arbres qui cachent la vue. Oui, on a déjà entendu ça. Je pense que notre directeur de la voirie écoute les messages aussi. Puis we can have discussions with the United Counties as well. We know that it's a intersection that is controlled by the city of Ottawa, but we can definitely raise some concerns there again. Madame Warren, I would also like to ask if there is a plan to provide a final asphalt coat to the Russell Groves neighborhood in Russell. This would include Des Pins Street, Stuyver Street, and Meadowlark Street. I'm not sure if you had that at your fingertips, Monsieur Bourgon.
Well, that's still the private sector to complete that work. It's not township roads as of yet.
So once the developer finishes the project or finalizes the project, he'll have to put a final lift coat on those streets, correct?
That's correct.
All right, so perhaps we can be in touch with the developer. I know we've had this conversation in the past, and see if we can at all have a timeline so we can inform our residents on that. Thank you very much. At this point in time, this is all the questions that were raised. Nope, another one just came in. So just to remind everybody, if you've sent in your requests earlier through email, we do have all those requests. They are on the public record and they will be discussed at budget time. So just to let you know that they are there, that we do have them. Conseiller Lorrain?
Can I just confirm that the Excel spreadsheet that was sent out has all the individual email requests? So I don't have to go through all the individual email requests that were sent out today? Is that accurate, or is it the spreadsheet plus all the other emails?
So I believe we have both. We have the original email requests, and we also have an Excel sheet that categorized everything. Is that correct, Madame Camille-Laflamme?
Yes, that's correct, Mr. Mayor. So the presentations were the first one on the Excel sheet, and the others were by the date they were received.
Okay, perfect. I just wanted to make sure I wasn't looking at both. As long as I looked at the Excel sheet, then I had all the information. So
yes, and if you want more information, then that's why the emails were provided.
Thank you.
Thank you. Conseiller Brisson, quelque chose à ajouter?
Yeah, there was a few requests for sidewalk. I know last year they were talking that they wanted to have a kind of a survey or a list of where there was the suggestion, as we have for the road, for the sidewalk. That was just wanted to know if they had the time to do it this year or if it's still in progress.
I think it was this year through our operations for quite a loop. I'm not sure, Monsieur Leduc, Monsieur Bourgon, was that just a topic of discussion, or was it an actual direction of council to put together that list?
True, Mr. Mayor, I would need to go back to see exactly if it was a clear direction from council. I know in a few years ago in my budget discussion, I did provide council location of potential location for new sidewalks within Embrun and Russell.
Yep.
But I also told council that right as of now, we should focus on replacing and maintaining the existing sidewalks that we have now. But that was part of a budget discussion that we had, I believe, 2 years ago.
Perfect. Councillor Saucier?
Yeah, so the spreadsheet plus these calls that are just coming in, correct? Because I don't see Mrs. Warren on here or Mr. Young. These are all additional ones?
Yes, these are definitely, these are people who are watching the webcast right now that are sending in their comments. It's possible that some comments have come in, they're just duplicating their requests.
Yeah, I haven't seen that yet, so
yeah, but definitely all the comments that are being sent in are being jotted down by staff, so these will be discussed at the budget session as well.
And then we'll get an updated spreadsheet with the new callers as well and their requests.
Yeah, that'll be part of the budget process, most definitely.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. So we'll just continue the comments coming in. Monsieur Daniel Futrell, 1836 Leclerc Road. Hi there, as per our previous discussions with you, April 2020, we'd like to support any request for consideration of continuing the resurfacing to Leclerc Road from McDonald Road. We have had numerous issues over the last 2 years, as you know, and look forward to having a treatment similar to that on McDonald Road. The state of the road causes a hardship with our normal functioning, including increased wear and tear to our vehicles. We look forward to positive responses. There have been serious concerns that were raised by ourselves and some of the other residents on Leclerc Road. Thank you for your tips on improving the conditions so far. Thank you very much for your request, Mr. Futrell. I can tell you by just looking at the list, roads every year is always the #1 concern. Everybody would like to have their road repaved. Obviously, with the amount of roads we have in the township, it's very hard to accommodate that request. But we definitely have those discussions at budget time, and we go through that process. So if ever you're interested as well, we do have a 5-year road paving plan that you can get from our infrastructure department, and they can show you what's the proposed timeline for different roads. And I believe Monsieur Leduc or Monsieur Bourgon, we also had a report to council that came with that methodology a few years ago. Is that correct?
Through Mr. Mayor, yes, that report was presented to council last October, so 2019.
All right. So that report, when residents are asking for road paving, if they have any questions, you can forward them that report, and it can give them a lot of background information as to what is going on in the township. So thank you very much for that comment. Madame Warren, is it possible to fundraise as community for specific items such as items for the park? We always appreciate fundraising. It always helps out when we're trying to move projects forward. Obviously, it's much easier for council to be a participant in a potential project as to being the one who bears all the costs. There's great examples of community-led projects in the past. I'm thinking of the Emblem Splash Pad. I'm thinking the dog park. I'm thinking Councilor Lorraine in the past when Stiver, there was some work done in there past from fundraising you were doing. So yeah, definitely there's definite possibilities there. So that'll be a request for the budget session next month. Mr. Futrell, can you please also comment on how the expansion of the number of new residence houses in the township will be reflected in this increase in revenue? Given the large number of properties, does this increase our revenue significantly? Obviously, there are extra revenues that come from growth. That is a definite. There's also added costs that come. Monsieur Godin, those numbers are always presented during our budget process in regards to what the estimated growth revenues are.
That's correct, Mr. Mayor. So basically, in our budget presentations, we'll be showing, as we do every year, statistics on growth, the increased revenues that it presents, as well as the increased costs.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Monsieur Godin. Just going through the list. We have Giselle Leslie, road from Russell to Emblem at the Wade Road Edie intersection. There have been many close calls due to high traffic volume trying to cross over at intersection. I feel four-way stop signs would make it much safer. The new subdivisions are now using Wade Road to go to Emblem. Perfect. So yes, that's a county road, but our staff are taking notes, and that's discussions they can have with the United Counties. And I just so everyone is aware, council did give direction in our strategic plan for a pedestrian safety study on seeing how can we increase safety in the municipality when it comes to roads and pedestrian traffic. So that's definitely something that the staff is aware of. Perfect. And I think that is all the comments at this point in time. I'm not sure if members of council had any other questions or anything else for the administration at this point in time. I see head shaking that we're all good. Monsieur Leduc, did you want to add anything this evening?
Bonsoir, Mr. Mayor, members of council. Obviously, there's been a big list of requests. It won't be as easy to satisfy as many of them, but certainly council we will be presented with the an estimate of cost of such requests as much as we can to our best of our knowledge. And when council gets to discuss further on these requests, then you'll have an idea about the approximate cost of it and those kinds of things. So you'll have a more indicated information package when you're discussing those requests at a future time. So.
Perfect. Thank you, Monsieur Leduc. And the first draft will be presented at the first meeting in October or the second meeting. Do you know at this point?
At this point, we're scheduled for the first meeting of October.
Okay.
And as you know, our next meeting in October will be the 19th, and then our working sessions will be the 21st and the 22nd. So it would be too late to provide you with the copies on the 19th to give you time to read them. So the first meeting of October will be the time for a presentation of the first draft.
Perfect. And for any member of the public who's interested in seeing that, that will be part of our agenda package, and that's a public document. So you're more invited to, more than welcome to have a look at those. And if you have any questions or comments, you can always reach out to our administration or reach out to members of council if there's things that you think you'd like to see changed. All right, perfect. Well, if there's nothing else, The next item is a question period on meeting of the day. Essentially, people have been sending in comments. I'm not sure if there was any additional questions. We can give a few seconds here. The question period's been open essentially since the start of the meeting. So I think that we've pretty much addressed everything that's come in. As we said, there's a lot of requests, and there was a very high uptake in requests this year. We saw that in our Excel sheet, and we'll be able to have those discussions. So at this point in time, it's the confirming bylaw. Confirming bylaw, that bylaw 2020.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes, Madame Camille.
There is also a question period for special meetings as well.
Yeah, that's what I stated, is that we have a question period and it's open. I don't see any questions coming in. It's been about a minute since I've stated that. I haven't seen anything new come in. Okay, sorry, thank you. Thanks. So yeah, no questions coming in. We'll go to the confirming bylaw. That bylaw 2020-103 being a bylaw to confirm the proceedings of the Council of the Corporation of the Township Russell at the special council meeting held on September 14, 2020, be read a first, second, and third time and passed. Moved by Councillor Ternosky, seconded by Conseil Brisson. You guys are good with that? I see heads nodding, thumbs up. I'll call for the vote. All those in favor?
Mike Ternosky, oui.
André, oui.
Jamie, yes.
Cindy Sauce, yes.
So thank you very much, everyone. Our next regular public meeting of council will be held next Monday, the September 21st at September 21st at 6 p.m. La prochaine réunion du conseil sera lundi prochain, le 21 à 18h. Thank you, everyone who's taken the time to log in and watch us this evening. Merci à tout le monde qui a pris leur temps pour regarder la réunion ce soir. And we are now adjourned at 7:47 p.m. Thanks very much, everybody. Have a great evening.